WHO continues to have confidence in China's capacity to control the outbreak. China is doing many good things that's slowing the virus.
There are wonderful lessons we can learn from China.
Since the COVID-19 outbreak began, the World Health Organization's Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus has been criticized for his defense of China's handling of the epidemic. The WHO has also been challenged for its slowness in exercising its emergency authority under the international health regulations. The organization did not declare the coronavirus to be a global pandemic until March 11th, by which time the outbreak had already spread to at least 112 countries and infected over 110,000 people. In an online interview with The Pulse, WHO's Assistant Director General, Dr. Bruce Aylward, defended the organization.
WHO recognized very early on that this virus had the potential to become a pandemic. And the message we went out, we were very clear about that, was we actually as societies have the ability, it appears, to prevent this becoming a pandemic. If we do the kind of measures that China put in place, testing all the people that are suspect cases, isolating, as you spoke about, etc. Now, what we've seen, and we're very clear about that, is that countries were not able to put some of those measures in place, and the virus continued to spread. And at that point, it had moved from a potential pandemic to an actual pandemic. Any country that says, we were waiting for WHO to declare a pandemic, has to take a deep look and a deep reflection on itself, because you could see what the devastation this virus did in China. You could see this virus moving. You could see it causing similar issues in other parts of the world. You have to move on the basis of what a threat can potentially do, and that is exactly what we called on governments around the world to do.
As the outbreak has swept across the world, a few places have seemed to have things more under control. One of them is Taiwan. Late this week, Taiwan had recorded 252 cases and only 2 deaths, a much lower percentage than its larger East Asian neighbors. Taipei says it alerted the WHO at the end of December about the risk of human-to-human transmission of COVID-19, but concerns were not passed on. Despite being shut out by China and the WHO, Taiwan's efforts in combating the outbreak were recognized by the European Union in a recent video conference.
Will the WHO consider Taiwan's membership? Hello?
Sorry, I can't hear you. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. Let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
Right, because I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
We decided to give Dr. Aylward another call to follow up.
And I just want to see if you can comment a bit on how Taiwan has done so far in terms of containing the virus.
Well, we've already talked about China, and when you look across all the different areas of China, they've actually all done quite a good job. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much for inviting us to participate, and good luck as you go forward with the battle in Hong Kong.
So you tweeted this out. So China effectively committed a war crime against its own people and then the rest of the world. Now it's attacking anyone who claims it mishandled the virus. It's time to start thinking the PRC leadership seriously as the most dangerous regime on the planet. Now, so this seems, you could see how that would seem as inflammatory to some people as what Donald Trump says, right?
Well, of course, but what China did with the virus was catastrophic. I mean, they absolutely lied about it in the beginning, and then they manipulated the World Health Organization into lying about it. So Taiwanese doctors were saying in November, because they were working with Chinese doctors, this is a contagious disease. It goes from human to human, and they were telling the WHO that this was the case. And the WHO was ignoring them because of Chinese diplomatic muscle. Taiwan is not a member of the WHO. And the WHO has been doing whatever China wants because everyone's afraid of China. So the WHO lies about the nature of the disease for a month or two at the pivotal moment when it really could have addressed it. At the same, China also lied to its own people and caused a lot of death and destruction in their own country. And then because they didn't handle it right initially, we now have a global pandemic. Now, they're not responsible for how we've handled it. They're not responsible for how Europe has handled it, but they are responsible for how they handled it. And they are responsible for corrupting the World Health Organization and making the rest of the world less capable of actually addressing the problem. Now, I don't think that we would have handled it better if the World Health Organization had warned us earlier, but I think other countries might have, and that is on China.
Okay, that's great information. All right, Matt Stoller, the author of Goliath, the 100-Year War Between Monopoly Power and Democracy. Thanks for taking time out and talking with us, and I hope to have you back on soon.